You are courting your own demise. Not physically, but spiritually. You welcome them into your sanctuary. You send them the first text of the day. You unveil your anxieties, your ambitions, and your sins to them. You believe you are weaving a bond of intimacy, but in reality you are handing them the schematics for your own collapse. The average person labors under the delusion that danger resembles a beast. They imagine a threat wears a scowl, carries a blade, or holds a criminal history. This is a naive, infantile hallucination. Niccolò Machiavelli, the man who dissected the anatomy of power without anesthesia, understood the grim reality. True malice does not grimace. It beams. It flatters. It extends a helping hand before you have even stumbled. The most lethal figures in your existence are not the ones who declare war on you. And declared enemy is a gift. You see their position on the board. You can fortify your walls. No, the people who will truly dismantle you, who will bleed your resources dry, assassinate your character, and fracture your psyche, are the ones currently breaking bread with you. They are the Trojan horses of the modern soul. You are watching this because you sense it. A low-frequency hum of anxiety in your interactions. A depletion of spirit you cannot rationalize. You have arrived here because you are finished with being the carcass. In this video, we are going to conduct a forensic examination of your social circle. We will utilize the cold, unblinking eye of Machiavellian philosophy to isolate the 7 archetypes of people you must amputate from your life immediately. Not distance yourself from, amputate. Like gangrene. This is not about toxic relationships. That is a fragile, trendy term. This is about survival. Because if you do not spot them now, by the time they drop the mask, you will already be drained. Let us sharpen the scalpel. Number 1, the usurer of kindness. There exists a breed of person who masquerades as the most benevolent saint you have ever encountered. They bestow gifts you never requested. They volunteer for tasks you did not need doing. They sprint to your aid at the slightest hint of trouble. You think, what a devoted ally. Machiavelli would tell you that you are being purchased. In The Prince, Machiavelli dissects the chains of obligation. He knew that men are ruled by fear and profit, but there is a third shackle heavier than iron. Debt, the usurer of kindness, weaponizes charity. They do not give to uplift you, they give to own you. Every unsolicited favor is a deposit in a ledger, and eventually the bill comes due. They are drafting a silent contract. You never signed it, you never read the terms, but in their calculus, because they listened to you vent about your partner for 3 hours, they now hold the deed to your loyalty, your schedule, and your obedience. Watch for the scorekeeper. Listen for the sentence. After all I've done for you, the second those syllables hit the air, the facade has crumbled. A genuine gift has no memory. A bribe has a leash. This archetype is hazardous because they make you question your own sovereignty. When you attempt to draw a line, they brand you as ungrateful. And because you have a conscience, you accept the label. You fold. You allow the intrusion. Machiavelli warned that he who empowers another destroys himself. By accepting their unasked for aid, you surrender dominion over your will. The fix: cease accepting the free lunch. If you did not request it, decline it with grace or repay it instantly. If they treat you to a meal, buy the next round of drinks within the hour. Zero out the balance before interest accrues. If they become insulted that you settled the debt, you have identified your usurer. Cut the line. Number 2, the intel broker. Information is not merely power, it is ordnance. We have all encountered the person who dives too deep, too soon. You meet them, and within 40 minutes they are spilling their childhood traumas, their deepest shames, their moral failings. They display immense vulnerability. Your empathy engages. You feel privileged that they confide in you. The social law of reciprocity compels you to return the serve. So you drop your guard, you confess your marital strife, you admit your disdain for your superiors, You reveal your Achilles' heel. You have just handed a loaded pistol to a volatile child. This is the intel broker. They utilize performative vulnerability as a lockpick. They are not opening up to heal. They are opening up to trick you into lowering the drawbridge. Machiavelli advised princes to hold their counsel, to never let their true nature be deciphered. Why? Because if your adversary knows what terrifies you, they know exactly where to insert the knife. The intel broker hoards secrets like currency, and they will spend them. Have you observed that this person always has dirt on others? They whisper things to you that they should safeguard for their other friends. Here is a law of social physics. If they speak with you, they will speak of you. The threat here is reputation annihilation. When the alliance inevitably rots, and it will, because these types feed on chaos, your secrets become their arsenal. They will rewrite the narrative using your own confessions to paint you as the monster and themselves as the martyr. The fix: master the art of the gray rock. Be uninteresting. When they dump trauma on you prematurely, do not reciprocate. Listen, nod, but keep the vault of your own life locked. Observe their eyes. If they push, if they prod, if they say, "Come on, I told you my darkest stuff," you are staring at a spy. Burn the file. Number 3, the entropy engine. There is nothing more perilous than tethering yourself to those who are perpetually drowning. This is a loose adaptation of Machiavellian thought, but faithful to his stance on fortune. Machiavelli believed in fortuna. He believed some are caressed by it, and some are scourged by it. But if you examine the scourge closely, you will detect a motif. This is the person who lives in a perpetual state of emergency. If it isn't it is the landlord. If it isn't the landlord, it's the psycho X. If it isn't the X, it's the system. They are the architect of misfortune. Initially, your heart breaks for them. You want to rescue them. You feel like the savior, but lean in closer. Their bad luck is almost invariably the product of terrible impulse control, zero discipline, and an allergy to learning from consequences. But they will never confess this. To them, the universe is a persecutor. Why are they a threat? Because misfortune is communicable, not metaphysically, but logistically. If you chain your vessel to a sinking wreck, you do not buoy them up. They drag you to the seabed. Their crisis becomes your crisis. Their panic consumes your hours, your capital, and your peace. Machiavelli was cold on this point. He advised shunning the unlucky, not out of superstition, but out of self-preservation. These people are voids. They absorb light. No matter how much vitality you pour into them, they remain dark. They do not want a solution. If you offer a ladder, they will explain why their hands are too slippery to climb. They want an audience for their tragedy. They want you to notarize their victimhood so they are absolved of change. The fix: analyze the timeline. Is it a bad season or is it a bad life? If chaos trails them like a scent, step out of the wind. You cannot rescue a soul that is addicted to its own wreckage. Number 4, the hollow echo. Princes, Machiavelli wrote, have no other defense against flattery than to let men know that they will not offend you by speaking the truth. But most of us are not princes. We are fragile. We hunger for applause. We want to be told we are brilliant, captivating, and correct. Enter the hollow echo. This person concurs with every syllable you utter. If you detest a film, they loathe it. If you reverse your stance 5 minutes later, they pivot instantly. They possess no self. They are a reflection of you. It feels euphoric. Finally, someone who understands you. Wrong. They don't understand you. They are hiding from you. The echo is dangerous because they cloak their true motives behind a wall of assent. You never know where the ground actually lies with them. A friend who challenges you respects you. A friend who blindly nods is maneuvering you. Machiavelli detested flatterers. He viewed them as the pestilence of the court. Why? Because they insulate you from reality. They inflate your ego until you are blind to the cliff edge. But the danger runs deeper. The echo is a chameleon. They mirror you today to extract what they need. Tomorrow, if it profits them to align with your rival, they will mirror them. They will nod and agree while your enemy dismantles your name, just as they nodded with you. They have no allegiance to persons, only to power. If you hold the scepter, they are your shadow. The moment you stumble, they evaporate. The fix, audit them. Intentionally voice an opinion you know is slightly flawed or controversial. See if they validate it. Then later contradict yourself. See if they shift. If they lack a spine, they lack loyalty. A person who stands for nothing will fall for anything, and they will drag you down with them. Number 5, the pious butcher. There is a specific strain of sadism that wears the costume of virtue. You know this figure. They are brutally honest. They are just trying to help you ascend. They utilize morality, religion, or social ideology as a bludgeon to beat you into compliance. This is the pious butcher. They do not assault you with slurs. They assault you with standards, unattainable ones. They illuminate your defects under the guise of optimization. I'm saying this because I love you, but you've really let yourself go. I don't think you're dedicated enough to your path. Machiavelli knew that it is necessary for a prince who wishes to maintain his position to learn how not to be good. The pious butcher uses goodness as a lever for dominance. By appointing themselves the judge of your conduct, they elevate themselves above you. It is a hierarchy play. They feed on your shame. If you exist around someone who makes you feel perpetually insufficient, who makes you feel you are constantly in the dock awaiting a verdict, you are in the presence of a predator. They are eroding your self-worth so that you become addicted to their validation. They want you to beg for their approval like a starved dog, and they will dispense it in crumbs, just enough to keep the leash taut. The fix: cease the defense. The moment you begin to explain your actions, you accept their frame that you are on trial, you are not. When they critique you for your own good, look them dead in the eye and say, I did not solicit your feedback. Watch the reaction. Their piety will curdle into rage instantly. That rage is their true face. Number 6, the silent traitor. He who is not with you is against you. A concept Machiavelli touched upon when discussing the folly of neutrality. In times of war, the most dangerous figure is not the opposing general. It is the one standing on the ridge, watching, calculating the odds. This is the silent traitor. They are friends with you, but they are also friends with the one who knifed you. They claim, I just don't want drama. I'm Switzerland. I see both sides. This sounds mature. It is actually cowardice masquerading as diplomacy. By refusing to take a stance against disrespect or betrayal, they are subsidizing it. Their silence is a stamp of approval. Machiavelli despised neutrality. He argued that irresolute princes generally come to ruin. Why must you excise them? Because they are hull breaches in your ship. You cannot entrust them with your strategies, your emotions, or your defense. They will barter your information with the opposition to maintain their neutral standing. They desire to be liked by all, which means they are loyal to none. When the siege begins, and life is a siege, you need soldiers, not spectators. The silent traitor will watch you bleed out and then whisper to the victor, I never really aligned with him anyway. The fix: force the dichotomy. This person harmed me profoundly. Continuing to break bread with them is an affront to me. If they refuse to choose, they have made their choice. They chose themselves. You must do the same. We have covered 6 of the 7 faces of peril: the usurer, the broker, the engine, the echo, the butcher, and the traitor. But the seventh is the most catastrophic of all, because the 7th type doesn't just damage you, they become you. They devour your identity until only a husk remains. This is the archetype Machiavelli feared most in political theater, the one that erased dynasties. And chances are you are mistaking their pathology for adoration right now. Number 7, the envious mimic. There is a form of loathing that looks indistinguishable from worship. You meet someone who places you on an altar. They adore your aesthetic. They recite your theories. They begin to dress like you. They adopt your cadence. They pick up your pastimes. They solicit your counsel on every triviality. Initially, your ego is stroked. You feel like a mentor. You feel like a sovereign. But then, the temperature shifts. They begin claiming authorship of your concepts. They start cultivating your friends behind your back, whispering narratives that are slightly distorted. They begin competing with you in arenas where no competition existed. This is the envious mimic. Machiavelli observed that men are so similar that he who deceives will always find those who allow themselves to be deceived. The mimic deceives you by wearing your own skin. The psychology here is not merely jealousy. Jealousy is wanting what you possess. Envy is wanting you not to possess it. The mimic does not want to be like you. They want to replace you. They suffer from a pathological absence of self. They are a vacuum seeking a form, and they have selected yours. But because they cannot actually be you, because they lack your scars, your history, your resilience, they resent you. They hate you for possessing the substance they lack. This dynamic always concludes in betrayal. It must, because as long as you breathe, you are a living reminder of their fraudulence. To fully inhabit the character they are playing, they must destroy the original. If you have a friend who replicates you too precisely, who flashes a micro-expression of rage when you succeed without them, who attempts to sequester you so they can possess you alone, wake up. You are nursing your own executioner. The fix: starve the clone. Stop handing them the blueprints. Withhold your true thoughts, your next maneuvers, your genuine emotions. Watch them panic. When they can no longer feed on your essence, they will lash out, and then they will depart to find a new host. Let them go. Now we must set down the scalpel and raise the mirror. Identifying these 7 types is the elementary part, the agonizing part. The part that will actually alter your trajectory is answering the uncomfortable question, why are they sitting at your table? Dangerous people do not break into your life. You invite them in. You hand them the key. You pour the wine. Machiavelli wrote, "A prince who is not wise himself cannot be wisely counseled." If your life is infested with parasites, it is because you have constructed an ecosystem that nourishes them. You are the common denominator. We must examine the 3 internal fractures that act as magnets for these predators. If you do not seal these cracks, you will sever one head of the hydra, and 2 more will erupt. Weakness A, the savior complex. You attract the entropy engine and the usurer because you need to feel essential. You derive your value from repairing others. You think you are being noble, but you are actually being arrogant. You believe you possess the power to alter human nature. You do not. By attempting to save everyone, you are merely broadcasting that you have no perimeter. You are a resource waiting to be mined. Weakness B, the terror of solitude. You tolerate the silent trader and the intel broker because you are petrified of the silence. You would rather have counterfeit friends than no friends. You keep the chairs occupied because the quiet of an empty room forces you to confront your own demons. Machiavelli knew that a formidable leader must be capable of standing alone. If you cannot find contentment in an empty room, you will forever be a slave to whoever walks through the door. Weakness C, the addiction to validation. You fall for the echo and the mimic because you do not know your own worth. You require an external battery to tell you that you are valid, intelligent, or worthy. This is a fatal error. As long as your self-esteem is outsourced to the crowd, they own you. They can elevate you and they can drop you. And they will drop you the moment gravity serves them. So how do you excise them? Most people execute this poorly. They stage a grand confrontation. They pen a manifesto. They scream. They weep. They demand closure. This is a tactical error. Machiavelli taught us that it is safer to be feared than loved. But in the modern context, we adapt. It is safer to be a ghost than a warrior. Confrontation provides them with data. It tells them they successfully wounded you. It gives them an opening to gaslight, to debate, to play the victim. It feeds the drama they subsist on. Do not grant them that sustenance. Use the Machiavellian fade. 1. The starvation diet. Cease feeding the dynamic. If they are a spy, cut the intel. If they are a victim, cut the aid. If they are an echo, become featureless, become gray. When the transaction halts, they will naturally migrate to a new source. 2. The time dilation. You do not need to block them instantly unless they are abusive. Just decelerate. Reply to texts 6 hours later, then 24 hours later, then 3 days. Be occupied. Dilute the connection until it dissolves into water. 3. The emotional firewall. Be polite but impenetrable. Treat them like a colleague you barely know. I'm good, thanks. Hope you're well. No details, no hooks. 4. The guillotine. For extreme cases, the mimic or the butcher, subtlety may fail. You may need to sever the cord, but do it with brevity. This dynamic is no longer healthy for me. I wish you the best, but I need space. Then, absolute radio silence. No explanations, no debates. The explanation is the trap. When you excise these people, something terrifying will occur. The void. Your phone will cease buzzing. Your weekends will be vacant. The drama that colonized your brain will vanish, leaving a silence that rings in your ears. You will feel the compulsion to fill it. You will feel the urge to text them back. You will feel bored. Do not break. This boredom is not emptiness. It is peace. This silence is not loneliness. It is space. Space for what? Space for the people who actually merit your presence. Machiavelli said that opportunities are born of the moment. You cannot encounter the high-value, loyal, dangerous in a good way people if your schedule is clogged with parasites. You are clearing the weeds so the crop can rise. Imagine a life where you only converse with people who sharpen you, people who challenge you to expand, not to shrink, people who celebrate your victories without a concealed grimace of envy, people who have their own lives and revere yours. This life is attainable, but it has a price tag. It costs you the comfort of your old, toxic tribe. You must be willing to walk through the desert alone to reach the oasis. We have discussed the 7 people you must evade: the usurer, the broker, the engine, the echo, the butcher, the traitor, the mimic. But there is one more, the 8th person, the one who permitted all of this to transpire, the one who ignored the red flags, the one who lingered too long, the one who was afraid to speak. You. The ultimate Machiavellian lesson is self-mastery. You cannot control the nature of others. The scorpion will sting, the liar will lie, the thief will thieve. That is their biology. But you can control the drawbridge to your own fortress. If you find yourself besieged by enemies, it is because you left the gate unbarred. Close it. Raise your standards. Sharpen your discernment. Become ruthless with your time. Not because you hate people, but because you respect yourself. Your life is a depleting resource. Every minute you spend with a psychological vampire is a minute you steal from your purpose, your kin, and your future self. Stop negotiating with terrorists. Stop sleeping with the enemy. Wake up. Look around the table. And if you do not like what you see, flip the table and walk away. If this opened your eyes, understand this is only what I can reveal in the light. There are videos I cannot upload for the masses. There are corridors of dark psychology that I simply cannot navigate publicly on YouTube without being silenced or demonetized. The algorithm suppresses the most potent knowledge. Those lessons exist behind the join button. If you are still here, you are not like the herd. Subscribe to the Quiet Folds if you haven't. But if you desire what is obscured, click the join button and step into the architect level. You will unlock exclusive, uncensored briefings that dive into the abyssal parts of the human psyche. Most won't. That is the point.